antennas up and get agitated and all of this other stuff because we're hearing something that we're not accustomed to hearing and we didn't want to hear. Why do that? Why, Megyn Kelly? Why? You are not black. You haven't been profiled like black people have. You haven't been demeaned and denigrated to the degree that black people have been. You haven't been enslaved like black people were. You haven't had your rights denied to you as black people have. Historically, you know this. So why not just sit up there and say, hey, I understand where they're coming from? Why not? We talk about all of us coming together. You know why we can't come together? Because the first order of business in order to come together is for somebody to know that you understand where they're coming from.
All right, guys, so in a continuation of the left's outrage towards conservatives calling out the PSYOP that is the Black National Anthem, we have to talk about Stephen A. Smith, who is going to address some of the conservatives that have issues with the attempt to replace the regular national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, the real national anthem, with the fake national anthem, the so-called Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing, because that's exactly what it is, okay? This is a part of the Marxist left's attempt to try to replace and to rewrite American history, okay? They are removing statues of our founders, okay? They have another Independence Day, Juneteenth, apparently for black folks. Now they have another national anthem. This is clearly and obviously an attempt to try to destroy the fabric of this country. All of the traditions of this country that bring us together as Americans, they are trying to destroy it. Okay, this is what's happening. Everybody can see it. And these people want to boohoo, whine, and scream racism. They want to be upset because conservatives are refusing to accept what clearly and obviously is an attempt to replace the traditions that we all know and love in this country that do unite us together regardless of our race, right? So you have Stephen A. Smith, who's going to address Megyn Kelly in particular, who has an issue with the Black National Anthem. And I want to respond to it because essentially Stephen A. Smith's argument is that if you're not black, then you shouldn't really speak on this. And if you're white, then you should at the very least stay neutral, if not outright support it. So I want to talk about it. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Then there was Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly is a very popular podcaster. Said, quote, tweeted, quote, the Black National Anthem does not belong at the Super Bowl. We already have a national anthem and it includes everyone. That's what she said. And of course she has her supporters because there were plenty of people who spoke up on her behalf. And obviously Kerry Lake was one of them. Bobert was another, along with several others, because they felt that the Black National Anthem was, quote, a manufactured push for segregation. You see, before I say anything else, let me first say, I'm sick and tired of folks out there, particularly in the black community, being so quick to throw out the word racism. When you throw out the word racism, do me a favor. Have more evidence before you do it so it can't be dismissed via plausible deniability or something else. I don't know Megyn Kelly at all. Okay? I don't find her statement to be racist. I find it to be, in her eyes, patriotic. I find it to be, in her eyes, self-righteous. I find her to be a bit detached from reality being faced by black Americans everywhere. I got that part.
Okay, so what you have here is Stephen A. Smith, who is giving black people advice that he should take himself because he's the #1 race hustler on ESPN, always boohoo, whining, and crying racism. So, again, I find it pretty ironic that he's basically telling other black folks, hey, don't be so quick to pull the race card. Maybe he's learned his own lesson about being too quick to pull the race card. Maybe that's what's going on here. But regardless, the real argument that he's going to make here is that, well, if you're white, then you are being insensitive to black people and black people's feelings and what black people have been through, which, by the way, none of these people, Stephen A. Smith and all these people that are boohoo whining and crying right now, none of these people have actually been through the things that they always want to guilt trip the rest of America on in regards to what black people in the past have been through. None of these people have been through that, right? By the way, okay? But they want to guilt trip you on something that they never actually really went through, okay? I think what white people should start doing is start to guilt trip black people on all the white folks that died fighting for the freedoms of black folks, right? Start coming out here and start saying, well, you need to be sensitive towards my feelings, or who knows, maybe you can go as far as to say, you owe me reparations, right? Because my white ancestor fought and died in the Civil War to help free your ancestors. What about that? Okay? Because that's the game they're going to play, where they want to guilt trip people based off things that they've never went through, but their ancestors went through. Then white people can play the same game, right? Because everybody's ancestors have suffered, okay? Back then, a lot of people had hard lives, fought in wars, died, had injustices committed against them. And if you bring that up, I guarantee you people like Stephen A. Smith, they're going to look at you like you're stupid and say, well, why are you trying to guilt trip me on something that your ancestors went through, right? And then you can turn around and say, well, yeah, that's the question I'm asking you, right? That's the point. That's the point. It's silly.
But I can't go in the way that I wanted to go in about her when people are out there from my community just throwing out the word racist. You don't know that about her. You don't know that about her. And when you say something like that, you dilute the potency and the importance of the argument. I'm going to say something that's very unpopular, but it factually needs to be addressed. I don't expect white people to have the sensibilities of black people. I don't expect somebody white to get it about black people the way I expect black people to get it about black people. I may not like it. Megyn Kelly, if you're watching, you're listening, I don't like what you said at all. I think it comes across as highly insensitive. You cannot take into account history. You cannot acknowledge, because you are a historian. I've heard you. I've watched you. I've listened to you. Profound respect for you. I've even listened to your interview, your lengthy interview with my former colleague at ESPN, Sage Steele, who a lot of people don't like, but I respect and I like, because I've known Sage Steele for nearly 30 years. It doesn't mean I agree with everything she says. I certainly don't agree with all of her politics, but I've known her for years, and I respect her. What I'm saying to you, however, Megyn Kelly, I'm only bringing up her name to let you know I've listened to you on many occasions. We run across each other during my visits at Fox News in the past. And respect is obviously something you should require because your body of work is that significant. I get it. But you ain't black. You haven't been marginalized and ostracized and treated in the manner that black people have been treated. Now,
Oh, really, Stephen A? Oh, really, Stephen A? What type of racism have you experienced, right? What type of marginalization have you experienced as a so-called black man in America that's on one of the biggest platforms that you can have in sports media, if not the biggest platform, the biggest sports debate show, First Take, speaking on a lot of topics and issues that I would say you're not really an expert on, but you are able to speak on these topics because you have entertainment value, right? You're making millions of dollars a year. You are allowed to participate in luxuries that most white people in this country do not participate in, regardless of their white privilege. What have you been through, Stephen A., to suggest that you've been so marginalized and, so hurt as a black person in this country? See, this is what I don't understand about these people. It's like no matter how successful you are, they always pull the victim card. They always pull the victim card. Even though you are an example of how hard work can overcome whatever obstacles are in your way. But instead, no, boo-hoo, we victims. You can't understand our plight. Right? And it's like, well, what plight do you have, Stephen A. Smith, as a multi-million-dollar black man that's on one of the largest platforms in the country? I don't get it. I don't understand.
As a woman, you have certainly had your challenges. Last time I checked, the person who gave you the most grief about being a woman was the former president of the United States, who's the front runner for the GOP nomination. He's the one that was very disrespectful to you, very dismissive, brought up stuff that I'm not about to repeat over these waves, these digital airwaves. I'm not going to do that, but you know it. He was very insulting, very demeaning, marginalizing, all of this stuff, very degrading. That was a GOP candidate. I love how all of these GOP folks jump to one another's defense, but you're going to negate who was the most insulting to you.
See, what I love here is that Stephen A. Smith tries to claim that, well, Megyn Kelly, you can't speak on this because you don't understand the marginalization of what black people have been through. But then he goes and makes a point that Megyn Kelly, because she's a woman, she must have went through some type of marginalization, okay, or some type of hardship just because she's a woman. Again, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
But I digress. My point is as a woman, I am certainly not qualified to speak to your plight and your challenges and the manner of things that you've had to overcome. Although you are a white woman, and everybody knows when you talk about stuff like affirmative action, the biggest beneficiaries of affirmative action have been white women. Not that that qualifies with you. I'm just saying. I'm using that point to highlight no matter what it is that you've been through, I'm willing to bet it's nothing compared to what black people have gone through. So all I'm saying is, if you ain't black, you may not understand.
I'm black and I don't understand, right? I'm black and I don't understand. I don't understand why is it that in a country where black folks can't read, they can't write, they can't do math, you have crime in all these neighborhoods, you have all these issues in this country when it comes to black people, a lot of it self-inflicted. Why are we so worried about a black national anthem? Why is that at the top of the priority list when there's so many other issues with black folks that I think black people should be concerned about? You got people boohoo, whining, and crying, losing their minds over David Lucas making a joke about George Floyd, who was a criminal, by the way, right? They trying to act like George Floyd was some type of civil rights activist in regards to how they defended him and going after David Lucas. But when it comes to the actual criminals, when it comes to the people that are actually really hurting black folks, killing black folks, they got no smoke for those people. No smoke whatsoever. They ain't got nothing to say. Cricket, silence. But let a comedian make a joke about a criminal, and all of a sudden these people, they're hurt, they're upset. They coming out the woodwork with all the smoke.
You're more than welcome to do that.
You're not getting clicks off my name for free.
Sir, who are you? No one knows about you.
So how you call my mom?
Sir, you had to get a name by disparaging black folk.
Bro, you better go look at
No, sir, that's how you're getting a name.
I don't want peons like you to be
Sir, you have no respect for the black community.
I have a lot of respect for the
No,
black
you don't.
community.
You disrespected Dr. King.
No respect for the black
You
community.
disrespected black.
A criminal on a pedestal.
Sir, you disrespected Dr. King.
Of course I did. It's called a joke.
It's not a joke. There's nothing funny about what you do.
Hey,
And I'm certain that the King Center doesn't find it funny either.
I don't want them to find me funny.
No, we're talking about your remark. Whether you're funny or not, no one cares. It's the things that you're saying about the black community that cannot be and won't be tolerated.
How many people think it's funny that you're homosexual?
Sir, if I was homosexual, that's my business.
Listen to your voice. You're not manly at all.
Sir, we're talking about the things you said. Sir, I just hung up on him because you're not getting no airtime over here. No one knows you, dude. You're not a celebrity. No one knows you. Okay? Now.
He does realize he's in a one-party state. I mean, you're in a one-party state, but
don't educate him the law. Don't educate him on the law. He's an idiot, and he's going to find out the hard way. He's a useful idiot.
I mean, but if he was in the space, he could come into space, right? His email where you try to book him is not valid. It doesn't work, right? I tried that. I also tried to find a number to look him up and so I could call him and give him a call, right? Wasn't expecting that to be, yield positive result.
Again, this is why black people can't get ahead, because the priorities are in the wrong place. In the wrong place. You're more concerned about a national anthem and jokes about George Floyd than the real actual problems that are holding black people back, that are self-inflicted. But yet every time you look, these people want to boo-hoo, whine, and cry, talk about being a victim, what black people have gone through, but yet these people refuse to speak up on what black people are actually going through, which is marginalization and demonization, not by the white man, but by other black folks. That's what black people are actually going through. When you living in the hood, your fear is not the white man. Your fear is another black man that, statistically speaking, is more likely to take your life. That's what black people are actually going through. But these bourgeoisie Negroes come out here and they want to talk about how, oh no, it's the comedians, right? Making jokes about George Floyd. Oh, it's the white people. Oh, it's the national anthem. It's the black conservatives. They're not staying on code. These people are clowns. They're not serious. It's a joke. This is why black people, we can't get ahead, because our priorities are in the wrong place. You have smoke for conservatives who are simply saying, look, we don't want to participate in this psyop where you're trying to replace the national anthem. We know that's what it is. Because you're trying to replace Independence Day. You're also trying to replace American history. The 1619 Project, what is that? That is an attempt to rewrite American history in the woke lens. They don't want to say that the American Revolution was fought for Americans to free themselves from Britain. No, it was actually fought over slavery. This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to rewrite history. They're trying to do it right in front of your face, tearing down statues of the founders, putting up statues of criminals. They're trying to do it right in front of your face, and then they want to call you racist, or they want to try to act like you're in the wrong for being upset about it. That people don't want to see the country that they know and love, the foundations, the traditions that made this country great in the first place. They don't want to see these things go away and be replaced by worship of criminals and bad behavior and things that are making this country objectively worse. Things that are causing this country to not be the greatest country in the world anymore. Wokeness is destroying this country. People are saying it, and you think that, oh, well, if you're black, you don't need to speak on that. You're not being sensitive enough towards our feelings. Well, it's your damn feelings and the policies that are a result of your damn feelings being hurt. That's the reason why this country's falling off of a cliff. That's the reason why in 50 years from now, this country will be lagging behind China. China will be dominating the world because of your damn feelings. And you really ain't gonna like that.
And if you don't understand, why not be neutral?
Because if you're neutral, then you're supporting it. There's no neutrality. If you're neutral on this issue, then you support it, because everybody can see what it is. You're trying to usher in a new national anthem. You're trying to replace it. All it takes is for another psyop to happen where they use that as an excuse to have race riots. And then all of a sudden they'll say, well, we can't sing the Star Spangled Banner anymore. We're just going to lift every voice and sing. That's what's going to happen. And the way to usher that in is to try to guilt trip people into being okay with it and say, oh, no, you don't understand. Look, we're just singing our song. We're singing both of them. You need to be okay with it. You need to be sensitive towards our feelings. And we all know that that's not where it's going to end, because it never ends like that. It never just stops there. It always continues to progress and progress and progress, because these people are trying to accumulate power and control. That's what they want. It's not going to stop there. They're going to replace the Star Spangled Banner. That's what they're going to do. That's the end goal. They're going to replace it. Everybody knows it. And if you're neutral on it, then you are capitulating with it. That's why you can't be neutral. And I don't blame anybody that is white or whatever color for saying, no, I'm not going to stand for this. I'm not just going to allow this to happen and be okay with it. Because we all know what the end goal is.
If you don't understand, why not listen to the Black National Anthem? And then listen to the National Anthem. Why not just do that and call it a day?
Because again, that's being accepting of it. That's supporting it. I can't just listen and call it a day because we know what the end goal is. See, again, this is gaslighting. They're trying to guilt trip you into saying that, oh, well, you're mad about nothing. You're just triggered. No, this is actually worth being upset about. 100%. Because it's a part of the reason why this country's falling off a cliff. It's a part of the reason why America's on a decline. It's a symptom of America being on a decline. The loss of traditional values in this country is destroying this country. And this is a part of it. It's really that simple. Why are you not sensitive to how Americans feel about our traditions? Again, see, they want everybody to be sensitive towards them and their feelings, but you're not sensitive towards anybody else's feelings. As if your feelings are more important than everybody else's. And that's what really bothers me about these people. They don't want equal rights. They want special rights and privileges. And then they want to guilt trip you if you don't go along with it.
Why do we have to get our antennas up and get agitated and all of this other stuff because we're hearing something that we're not accustomed to hearing and we didn't want to hear? Why do that? Why, Megyn Kelly? Why? You are not black. You haven't been profiled like black people have. You haven't been demeaned and denigrated to the degree that black people have been. You have.
Didn't this guy just talk about how Trump was saying all this stuff about Megyn Kelly because she's a woman? But yeah, he's turning around and trying to say, well, you didn't go through this, you didn't go through that like black folks. What have you been through, Stephen A? Right? That's what I'm trying to know. What has Stephen A. Smith been through to justify his feelings being placed over everybody else's? That's what I really want to know.
Haven't been enslaved.
You haven't
like
either.
Black people were. You haven't had your rights denied to you as black people have.
You haven't either, right? You haven't either. That's the thing that kills me. You haven't been through any of this stuff.
Historically, you know this. So why not just sit up there and say, hey, I understand where they're coming from? Why not? We talk about all of us coming together. You know why we can't come together? Because the first order of business in order to come together is for somebody to know that you understand where they're coming from. Where they're coming from. Last time I checked, Megyn Kelly was married. I don't know what her status is now. I hope you're happily married and all of that other stuff. Wish you and your family nothing but the greatest. God bless you all. But hypothetically speaking, no knowledge of your relationships or anything like that. If you are with someone and you decide that, hey, you know what? How is this going to work? People talk about compromise. They talk about communication. You know what comes along with compromising and communication? Understanding. Even if we disagree. I understand exactly where you're coming from. You understand where I'm coming from. We've reached an accord or we've agreed to disagree and we move forward.
Well, again, the Black National Anthem is not a compromise. That is defeat, right? Because you're ushering in the replacement of the national anthem. That's what is going to happen. That's what they want. So there is no room for compromise. The compromise is actually for everybody to be happy with the national anthem, right? That's the real compromise. That's the real compromise. But they don't want to do that. You have to be sensitive towards their feelings, but they don't have to be sensitive towards your feelings because they're bigger victims than you, right? That's essentially the argument, right? That's the argument. Well, we've been through so much, even though Stephen A., I don't think he's been through any of these things that he is citing as reasons why people should be sensitive towards black people on this issue, which, by the way, I'm black, and I didn't know that the Black National Anthem was Lift Every Voice and Sing, or that there was a Black National Anthem until white liberals told us after George Floyd died that that was the Black National Anthem. I had no clue that was the case. But again, according to him, every black person has been through all this terrible stuff, right, at the hands of the white man. So therefore, everybody should be sensitive towards black people, and we should put the demands of these people over everybody else. Everybody else's feelings don't matter. And yet this guy is talking about compromise. Wait, again, you're not willing to compromise. Compromising is defeat. This is not an issue that anybody should compromise on. You do not compromise on the traditions, ideals, and values that made this country great in the first place. We do not compromise on that, because compromise on that is giving the country away to Marxist radicals, right? And again, that's the reason why this country is on a decline. Because of that, we're falling. We're falling because we're losing our culture. We're losing our traditions. So with that being said, I don't think there's anything wrong with being outraged. I think that the outrage against the so-called Black National Anthem is 100% warranted, and don't let anybody guilt trip you into believing that you're just getting triggered over nothing because you don't want to see our traditions and our history and the founding principles and values and ideals of this country be replaced by Marxism, because that's exactly what they're trying to do. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.